partner organizations to maximize the effectiveness of what we do. But many organizations out there are doing good things, and so we're looking to support them and vice versa. And so in this case, it's Keep Virginia Beautiful, really one of our main partners that we do so many things with. And today we have Christy Lawton, the executive director, Tracy Leverty, the programs director, and also, I'm sorry I don't have your picture up here, Becky, but Becky Watson, and you're the overall, what is your title? I'm sorry, Becky.
I'm the development director for Keep Virginia Beautiful, and my main baby is the Green Grants, which I'll talk about today.
Exactly. And that's just one of the program areas where not only, I mean, they're doing great things on their own, but our partners can take advantage of things like the Green Grants and, you know, the other program areas. So before we get started, I'm just gonna, here's a quick slide. We could just change the slide there, Megan. Of course, this is who we are. We are Virginia Green Travel, and that's our website there, virginiagreen.net. Travel, dine, experience sustainably, trying to get our message across there. We are green tourism, you know, for Virginia, and our mission is to educate the tourism industry about sustainable practices across the board. And so if you could hit the next slide there, Megan. Yeah, so here we are, and if you just hit it again, so the other items will come in, yeah. So, you know, we partner with DEQ, they're one of our core partners. It's also the Virginia Restaurant and Lodging and Travel Association. And then State Parks is one of our core marketing partners, where we've certified all of the state parks, which is awesome. But then, of course, Virginia's for lovers. And so that's what we're all about, is tourism. And we have where we address recycling, require recycling, but we require our partners to be implementing, you know, a number of activities in energy and water efficiency, sustainable products, and also just, you know, in hosting events and things. And so that when visitors come to various localities, you know, they are looking and able to choose a green certified facility to stay in, to dine in, and even festivals and events and things to experience in Virginia. So we're putting that together and so we're the tourism piece for communities, localities, and then Keep Virginia Beautiful, they're statewide as well, but they're not just tourism. Now they focus more on their core areas are preventing litter, improving recycling, and beautifying communities with pickups, cleanups, and things like that. So it just makes perfect sense that we work together. You know, our folks are trying to make our communities come off and you know, exhibit the fact that these are communities that care about the environment, they're clean, and they're providing recycling, and our partners, you know, are demonstrating their commitments to the environment, and hopefully that's something that people really care about, whether you're visiting or whether you live in these communities. And so we're challenging our partners to take advantage of what Keep Virginia Beautiful is doing, and their affiliates, the folks that are keeping communities green and clean. But also, you know, we're part of that entire effort overall. So today, because we work together so much, I'm on the Keep Virginia Beautiful board, actually. Tracy happens to be on the board of the Virginia Green Travel Alliance. And we are going to be, I've got, you know, the next slide here, if you could just hit that one real quick. And this is something awesome that we're doing together as well this year in honor of the 70th anniversary of Keep Virginia Beautiful. We decided it would be awesome, and they actually, you know, came to us with this idea even that we would co-sponsor our conference together. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that at what the conference is all about at the end. But the rest of the time, we are here to learn about what Keep Virginia Beautiful is all about in their programs. And so that I hope you all will be inspired to take advantage and work with Keep Virginia Beautiful as well as Virginia Green Travel. And I'm going to just hand it over to Christy and Tracy and Becky.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Tom, for that introduction and for providing that great background information. I'm Christy with Keep Virginia Beautiful, and as Tom said, I'm joined by my fantastic staff, Tracy, our Environmental Programs Director, and Becky, our Development Director. We're really delighted to have the opportunity to share more information today about our work and about our 70th anniversary. And of course, as Tom said, ways that you can be involved and benefit and take advantage of some of the programs and things that we do throughout the state. So our agenda today, gosh, we have 30 slides, so a lot of information. It's my understanding, though, that it's being recorded, so if there's things you want to go back and review later, you'll have the opportunity to do that. But we wanted to spend a little bit of time just talking a bit about who we are and our history, and provide some context and background information, especially as it pertains to litter, because that is definitely probably the foundation and cornerstone of our mission. Although, as Tom said, we also specialize and promote recycling and beautifying communities. But litter is really how we got our start, and it's really probably one of the key things that we focus on. And then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about our programs and how we help address these issues, and talk a bit about our 70th anniversary, and then we'll answer questions at the end. So if you have those, you can go ahead and put those in the chat, and our partners at DEQ will be keeping on top of that. So, phew, having said that, I guess we better go ahead and get started. Next slide. Okay, so Keep Virginia Beautiful has been around a while. We're celebrating our 70th anniversary this year, so that means we were founded in 1953. So for some context, the EPA wasn't even founded until 1970. So we've been doing this work for a long time. We're actually the same age as our national organization, Keep America Beautiful, of which we're an affiliate, and they have, I believe it's over 700 affiliates throughout the United States. We are a state affiliate, and then we support 17 local Keep America Beautiful affiliates located around the state as well. And as we discussed, our mission really focuses around improving Virginia's environmental and scenic environment, and we focused again on three main mission areas: littering, recycling, and beautifying communities. And we'll talk a bit more about how we do that, but I would just say one of the things that I think is most interesting and really sets us apart is the amount of time that we've been doing this work with various partners and making advances, with both legislation, the public sector, the private sector, individual volunteers. We really have a long history of doing this work and have seen how things have grown and evolved over that time. Okay, next slide. All right, so we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about litter because it is really the foundation and cornerstone of our work. We partner closely with Keep America Beautiful, and they just recently in 2020 completed a national litter study, which I think provides a lot of very interesting and informative information, and some things may be intuitive and some things may not, but it does provide a good overall context and background for our programs and services. So we'll start with some stats, some information about littering behavior. Cigarette butts, in particular, we talk about and have specialized programs because those are the most littered item, both in Virginia and in the nation and in the world. And then we'll talk a little bit about costs of litter, best practices, and then move on to our programs. Okay, next slide. Okay, so Keep America Beautiful about every 10 years or so does a national litter study. So their most recent one was completed in 2020. I think before that it was 2009. And maybe not surprising, but some key takeaways from that plastic is the most littered item by material group. I think if we think about the ways that plastic is so predominant in our culture and in our products, I don't know that that's necessarily surprising, but it does tell you that it's definitely problematic. As you're probably also not surprised, COVID, PPE related litter has skyrocketed due to the pandemic. So you're not alone in thinking that you're seeing a lot of masks and wipes and things like that on the ground. And of course, those are light items that can very easily get picked up from storm events and end up in waterways. Our next bulleted point is one that I was a little surprised. This one is a little less intuitive for me, but it turns out that most litter is actually pretty small, 4 inches or less in size. And so when we think about organizing cleanups, and Keep America Beautiful does a national Great American Cleanup, one of the things that they're starting to account for in terms of pickup supplies is the fact that a lot of litter is pretty small. There's a lot of litter, even though it's been, there have been significant decreases since the last study in 2009. So it's kind of a good news, bad news there. But by their estimate, it works out to be about 152 items per each US resident. So Keep America Beautiful has actually taken that number and done a 152 and you type of campaign to make that you know, a little more personalized on an individual basis what the national amount of litter accounts for per person. Most people do believe that litter is a problem. And we know that even as long as we've been working on this issue, 70 years, while there's been progress made, there's still a lot of work to be done. And again, cigarette butts, most commonly littered item, but good news, bad news, this litter is down almost 70% from their last study. So again, some progress being made. All right, next slide. Okay, so this is an infographic that is a pictorial representation of some of the statistics that I just mentioned. So I think that's kind of a helpful summary. And then we threw in our fun "Don't Be a Litter Bug, Keep America Beautiful," more of a historic picture there that it was one of the first campaigns launched in the 1950s when we were organized, and we're actually the same age as Keep America Beautiful. Both of our organizations were organized in 1953, and this was one of the first campaigns. And sometimes when we have presentations and we ask people if they know what the first campaign slogan was, and some folks know, and our younger people usually don't. All right, next slide. All right, littering behavior. So interestingly enough, in this KAB study, I guess the last time that they did this particular question was in 2009, 15% of people actually self-report littering. So that's good news in that it's lower than when they first asked that question back in the 1960s. However, it's still too high because we know that there's still very much a litter problem, and that most littering is actually the result of notable intent. I think one of the more interesting statistics that they also found is that in terms of demographic characteristics of litterers, probably the most significant factor is age, with those individuals being younger, under 30, being more likely to litter than those are older. That was a little counterintuitive for me because I would have thought that younger folks were more in tune to this issue, but age is actually the most significant predictor of littering behavior. So when we're thinking about littering campaigns and outreach and education, that's a demographic to target. Otherwise, not surprisingly, most littering behavior occurs at a distance from a receptacle. So making sure infrastructure is in place can be another predictor of whether littering behavior occurs. Okay, next. All right, so a few words here about cigarette butts because they are the most commonly littered items. And I don't know that folks necessarily realize, but they're also mostly plastic. They break down to cellulose acetate, and the materials that make up cigarette butts are harmful to the environment, especially when they get into waterways. So both Keep America Beautiful and Keep Virginia Beautiful have specialized programs to focus specifically on this issue. And you can imagine if most litter is 4 inches or less, a big part of that, of course, is cigarette butts. So again, with our theme of good news, bad news, cigarette litter is down a lot actually, but is still the most single littered item. And if you think about where you might find them, it's not surprising. Locations where you may have more cigarette butts than others, and including at what we call transition points. So these are points where smokers have to discontinue smoking. So think about walking into a restaurant or at a courthouse. And so making sure that there are receptacles and infrastructure there is particularly important and something that our program stresses. And then, of course, there are environmental attributes and built environment attributes where cigarette butt litter can actually accumulate. So, for example, in the little cracks in the sidewalks, overflowing from receptacles, and of course, they're light. They're very easily picked up during storm events and eventually end up in waterways exactly where we don't want them to be. And you have a picture there is of one of our a wall-mounted cigarette butt receptacle. Okay, next. Okay, so a few words here about the price of litter, both hard costs and more indirect or soft costs. So we know litter cleanup is expensive, and honestly, it's probably underrepresented from what litter cleanup costs should be. And of course, it's a mix of public and private sector that has to pay those costs to clean up litter. And even though we know that litter behavior and the amount of litter is decreasing, that's sort of combated on the other end with demographic population growth. So more people, more litter. And in addition, as we've noted, plastic being the most prevalent material type, we know that every year more types of plastic are introduced into our consumer stream. And so that is also probably the more overall picture of what's happening, is that one of the reasons why there is so much litter is because there's so many different types of litter to be had. Moving on to more indirect costs on quality of life. Of course, this is something, if you're a member of the GTA and your emphasis and your focus is on tourism, there's definitely indirect costs of that, of litter in terms of not being attractive for tourism and for visitors. And likewise with neighborhoods and home ownership and the ability of and businesses to locate to an area. So we know that the impact of litter has an effect when it comes to those types of decisions that homeowners, consumers, tourists make. And then of course, finally, the environmental costs of litter, right? We know that debris often gets carried into the water stream and has environmental contamination effects as well. Okay, next slide. All right, so shifting gears, some best practices. Our organization and Keep America Beautiful focuses on individual behavior change, and that's not to discount the importance of either legislative change, producer consumer responsibilities, that type of thing. But for our purposes, we focus on individual behavior and individual behavior change. So things like making proper disposal convenient and accessible and providing infrastructure needed are things that we focus on. Trying to emphasize landscaping and built environment infrastructure and how those things can promote a sense of personal responsibility not to litter. You all may have heard of the broken windows theory, that if an area looks degraded, already has litter, doesn't have infrastructure in place for the disposal of litter, that it's more likely to be littered. So certainly we know that that has an effect. And of course, making the most of awareness and motivational campaigns and sending a message that littering is not acceptable social behavior. Okay, next slide. Okay, so shifting over to ways that we help in our specific programs and initiatives. A few that we're going to highlight today are our cigarette litter prevention program, the green grants, our cleanups, litter prevention resources, and of course our local affiliate support and blog. And this is the part where I get to turn it over to Tracy Leverty, our environmental programs director, because she specifically focuses on cigarette litter prevention. Next slide. And over to you, Tracy.
Okay, can everybody hear me? I went on mute in case my dog had a little moment. Happy to be here to spread some good news about cigarette litter. As Christy mentioned, there's actually reported fewer smokers, fewer butts, fewer cigarette litter in general, but it's still out there, and it's actually mostly plastic and turns into microplastic. And as she mentioned, and you all probably know, it's pretty dangerous at every level and moves around very easily with wind and storm activity. So several of the major international partners, as you can imagine, Altria and Santa Fe, do a lot of work to abate this problem and to help localities pick up the cigarette litter that they know that they are playing a role in creating. So for communities, organizations, businesses, there's a couple of opportunities to get equipment and then more extensive resources to combat litter that comes from these, even the little tips, all the different smoking devices that are out there right now. If you have an issue with that, we might have a solution for you. The easiest one that I'd like to present to everyone is the basic request for these litter butt receptacles that you see that are wall mounted. And we have quite a few of these available for anyone and everyone at varying quantities, really. If you've got a need for them and you express the need and know exactly where they're needed, because you experience the butts on the way to your office or the way to your bus stop or anywhere on your commute, where you think you might have a partner on the other end that would take some responsibility with you, we are willing to give these to you free of charge. What we do like to see is have some proof of where they go. We like to see pictures. We need to know, certainly a GPS location is always helpful, because what we like to do is brag to the rest of the world what communities are doing. And the more that we can populate a national map with where all of these receptacles are, it really looks like we're doing some really good work. And in fact, we are. And the exciting element to the CLPP program, which has been around for about 20 years, is that we're now recycling cigarette butts and turning them into park benches and coming to communities like yours. And so we're excited to partner with TerraCycle. I'm jumping ahead just a tiny bit, but it's really important at every level of our grants that if you are in receipt of one of these and are maintaining it, that you will make the commitment to collect them, maintain the unit itself, collect the butts, and at varying intervals when appropriate, just sending them off to TerraCycle. It's super, super, super simple, and it's free. It's a free program. The other component to this little, the easier grant that we have, which is basically around supplies, are these new pocket ashtrays that you see on the slide. They're pouches. We used to distribute a hard case kind of a pouch or a cigarette holder, mobile, that you can use on the go. And we've kind of move forward to this that's a lot more flexible, easier for us to mail, easier for you to put in your pocket, easier for you to distribute as an organization, as a restaurant, a bar member. If you've got people going outside to smoke and you know who the person coming is going, you can easily distribute. So we like to see these pocket ashtrays and these mobile ashtrays accompany the static unit, whether it's an urn or this receptacle here. So again, if you're interested in that opportunity, that QR code should be active. I was on it this morning, and you can request those. And I'm actually the person who fulfills that as the administrator of the National Cigarette Litter Prevention Program. And if you are in Virginia, Richmond, it's even easier because you can drop by and pick them up at our storage unit. Next slide. A little bit more of an in-depth program that we do have, and we're always anxious to talk to communities who are ready to go at it at this level, is certainly the equipment pieces there, and we want to know where they go. But this is really taking it a step further, and Keep America Beautiful provides grant money funding to help with your marketing, help with stickers, signage, shipping of things, all sorts of the equipment in general. And so it's really in depth, but you really need to have a task force in place. And there are some reporting requirements. They're not awful. They're put into place so that we can continue to get grant money and continue to push it out to you all. We really need the data that shows, that continues to show that these programs work in the community. And I'd love to shout out right now about the receptacles that are out in Carytown. We have a great partnership with Keep Virginia Cozy. Brian Bell has adopted the founder of that organization has adopted the bus stops in Carytown already to keep them clean and happy. And now he's going to keep them, he's going to collect the cigarette butts. So this is a great program if you know where you've got issues and you might be looking at something in the neighborhood of 25 to 50 units and you want to go at it from this standpoint. And we'd be very involved with your with the grant at this level. Okay, next slide. A couple of new things I think I already mentioned. Well, I did. Is this cigarette butt recycling program that TerraCycle offers for free. You can send in butts every day if you want, every month, however many quantities, and we're going to start to track these by zip code. And we're in planning talks about how to create some really fun incentives for communities to get engaged and really advocate and get benches built for their parks specifically, instead of a bench in a park. It's bring it back to your community. So that's pretty fun and exciting. And lastly, we are the pilot for an at-home butt recycling program. Our Great American Cleanup activities include a cleanup kit that has a canister these days that to collect cigarette butts. And we are going to have 1,000 of those to send out to private residents for them to use the pocket ashtray on the go, bring it home, dump it in here, and when they have enough, send it off to TerraCycle again for free. So we're just trying to make it super, super, super simple for the smoker to take care of their butt in the most responsible way. We know that a large percentage of smokers say that if they had a place to put their butt, they would. So we just need to make sure that it's there when they need it. And I think that's it for me. I can turn it over, right? Oh, was I going to talk about this too? So in the past, we have these pocket ashtrays in this last couple of years over COVID, which was kind of difficult. We still managed to get out pocket ashtrays through festivals and events that were actually still happening. And so that's become a really successful thing. If you're ever in Roanoke, there are probably a bunch of those out there accompanying the receptacles in their downtown area, as well as the receptacles. We've been fulfilling requests over the last couple of years for businesses and restaurants across the state. And then our special projects, which were grant opportunities that I explained before, we have implemented in Richmond, that Carytown, and in Hopewell, Petersburg, and Colonial Heights that we're pretty excited about, and hopefully we'll be talking a little bit more about in the news here in the spring. All right. Oh my gosh, me again. Sorry, guys. The pocket, I feel like I have touched on these. The pocket ashtray is a new design. We'll have plenty of these for anyone to order through that grant process. You can go on and order those, and you can actually email us at Keep Virginia Beautiful. Receptacles will continue to be available throughout the year through that grant opportunity and the pilot. If you know of anyone who would be interested in that, just send them our way. Is there another? Becky.
Thank you, Tracy. Thanks for my turn. Okay, I get to talk to you about the Green Grants program. As I mentioned to Tom earlier, it's my favorite thing that I do for Keep Virginia Beautiful. It's a pretty large program. We get at least 150 grant applications every spring, and we award 30 of them. they're due April 30th, and then we have the judges evaluate them during May, and then we award them. One each day is announced in June. So it's a fairly short window of time to get your applications in. And there are 4 categories. You can see them there, and you pick a program or a project that works for your group. We have scouts, civic leagues, schools, municipalities, all kinds of groups are able to submit an application. Next slide, please, Megan. And it's an online application only. And if you want to know when that application is actually live, you can check with our website, or you can sign up to take our e-news, which we send out once a month. And when they're open, we'll certainly announce it in our e-news. So if you go to our website, there's a little button on the side that says join our e-news list. We don't sell your email, and we don't use it for anything except communications, and it's usually once a month. So as I said, the grants are available online. The grant application is there, and you can choose a grant award of $500, $750, or $1,000, depending on the size and nature of your project. We have a panel of judges, some of our board members, some CEOs of our local recycling companies, and industry, people in positions in the industry who are sustainability officers. We have a lot of experts who are independent. I am not a judge, so if you have any questions about the program, or you want to run an opportunity by me, see if it's something that thinks it would be a good fit for this program, you're welcome to email me and ask me those kinds of things. And here's a little tip. The community beautification category has the most competition. We usually get 3 to 1. Everyone wants butterfly gardens and pollinators, and a lot of schools apply for them. So if you apply in that category, just know it's the toughest competition level. And if you apply in some of the other categories like litter prevention or cigarette litter prevention or recycling, you'll have a better shot at it because there's fewer applications in those areas. Next slide, please, Megan. This is just some impact of what we've been doing in the past. We've been doing the program since 2011. So at least one grant award has gone to each of the dots on this map. So if there was 10 in the city of Richmond, there's only 1 dot because we just couldn't fit them all on the map. But that gives you an idea of the coverage that we have for all different parts of the state, and a lot of different demographics and geography. So it really is all encompassing based on the kind of project that you want to do in your backyard. Next slide. This is the accomplishments of just last year's 30 grants. You can see 765 volunteers, lots of cigarette butts and tires removed from the water, the James River. There was a repair fair where people had people there who are good handymen, and they know how to fix things, and everyone was invited from the public to bring their broken lamp or bicycles, and they were repaired on site so that they didn't go to landfill as trash. And a lot of trees and plants are also part of our community beautification grants that are fulfilled. Next slide. And I'm moving away from green grants to talk a little bit about cleanups. That's the other thing that we have going on. We do 2 big cleanups a year, although we often partner with other groups around the state throughout the year and do our own individually. But you can participate in the Great American Cleanup. Virginia takes part of that national event, and that runs from March 20th to June 21st. And we have giveaways of cleanup kits, and Keep America Beautiful will have some other incentives. So you can follow us online to learn more about that coming up this spring. And then in the fall, October is Lovers Not Litter Month. So we have another effort to get out there, get your group together in your neighborhood or schools or scouts, or we also partner with other groups to get out there ourselves and pick up the litter, especially during those 2 times. Next slide, please. And one of the things that we do to help you is give away litter cleanup kits. Last year we had a volunteer group, we had a sponsor fund us, and we gave away 175 kits that were created. And this little boy was over in Browns Island last year at Jam Packed, and we gave away a couple during the day, and his mom won one. He was so excited to use that litter grabber. I think it was fun for him. The kits include a litter grabber, safety vest, washable work gloves, the buckets, and everything you need. You get to keep the kits, and you can conduct your own litter cleanups wherever you see the need. And we also last year did on-the-go sustainability sampler kits. Again, we had a sponsor and a bunch of volunteers who put together 100 kits that were this car litter trash can and a refillable water bottle, metal fork, knife, spoon, utensil, and metal straws, and paperless towel napkins, so that you can use these things and find out if you prevent yourself from using a lot of things that are wasteful. You don't have wrappers and things to get rid of if you're carrying your own things with you, and it's a pretty easy thing to do. So we want people to try these swaps and let us know how they like them, and you'll find that you probably will save money too using sustainable products like this, reusable ones instead of the disposable ones. Next slide. We also have affiliate support. There's, as Christy mentioned, we have 17 local affiliates. Keep Chesapeake Beautiful, Keep Suffolk Beautiful, Norfolk, a lot of them in Hampton Roads and all across the state. We meet with them monthly virtually, and we share ideas and learn what's working and not working for other groups to help ourselves. And we have an annual gathering. This is a picture from last year where we met Norfolk Botanical Gardens to see their exhibit on artwork that was created with plastic that washed up on beaches. It was beautiful to see what they've done with it, but amazing the amount of plastic that they collected to do that, those sculptures. And I also want to just mention briefly that we have a weekly blog. It's called Latest News. It's on our landing page. If you go to keepvirginiabeautiful.org, it's right there. And I post it every Monday, and I try to have news about events in the area. In fact, this week I'm talking about Virginia Green Travel Alliance, and I very often have links to other things that hopefully are helpful and informative. Also products. I feature businesses and products that are made in Virginia, and businesses that are local, and what they're doing to live a more sustainable lifestyle, and hope that it provides you with some tips and tricks and inspires you to do the same. And then I'm going to turn it back to Christy.
All right. Thank you so much, Becky and Tracy, for sharing information about our program services. I hope that was informative and helpful, and I hope there will be some things that you all will be able to utilize and take advantage of. Quickly, we'll just wrap up our presentation by giving you a preview of coming attractions this year for our big 70th anniversary. First up, as Tom mentioned, we are so delighted and honored to partner with the VGTA on their upcoming conference in March. So we hope we'll get to see folks in person there. Always exciting. And we're particularly delighted that Jenny Lawson, the new CEO of Keep America Beautiful, is one of the keynote speakers. So if you haven't yet, mark your calendars and register. I think it's still early bird registration. And we look forward to sharing even more information there through a lot of engaging speakers and informative topics. All right, next slide. All right, so Becky spent some time talking about our really popular Green Grants program. We typically do award 30 grants in the spring. We are hoping to get some additional support this year as part of our 70th anniversary to launch a fall cycle and award some additional grants as well. We feel like, as a statewide organization with a big service area and a very ambitious mission, one of the key ways that we have mission impact is through dispersing funds to localities for them to take on projects that are significant, noteworthy, and needed in local communities. So we definitely want to be able to expand and improve upon a program that has been so beneficial and really popular. So stay tuned for news on that. We hope to have good news to announce later on this year. Okay, next slide. We are proposing one new pilot program this year, a student ambassador program. It's based on successful programs that other state Keep America Beautiful affiliates have developed and launched in Pennsylvania and Texas. When we were really considering our anniversary year and if there were really gaps and things that we should be doing, it really kind of rose to the top of our radar that we need to be doing more with student outreach and education. If you remember when I shared the statistics about most littering behavior being in age groups under 30, this is partly in response to that. So we are hopeful to get some funding to launch a student ambassador program to help connect students and have them explore and take action to address issues around litter and recycling in their local communities. Okay, next slide. I want to leave time for questions. Also new in 2023, we are launching our Make Beautiful Your business membership opportunity. You can find more information about that on our website or just reach out to me after. We would be delighted to talk with you more about it. But we really believe that making our Commonwealth green, beautiful, and clean is everyone's business. And this is a great new program to help engage businesses in our work and to support shared priorities around preventing litter. Okay, next slide. So we're excited this year. As Becky had mentioned, we've done litter kits, litter pickup kits in the past, and we did on-the-go sustainability kits in 2022, which were really popular. Hope we'll be able to do more of those. But new in 2023 is a at-home sustainability sampler kit that we will be distributing throughout the year as part of the celebration of our 70th anniversary. And this particular kit, if the on-the-go was focused for, in your car, this is for at home and features some different types of swaps that you can make to be a little more green in your household. And you can see information about the types of things we're featuring. And then we're also hopeful to do a personal care product sustainability sampler kits later in the year as well. Again, part of our efforts to provide resources and tools to individuals for behavior change and to make some simple swaps that are good for you and good for the environment. Okay, next slide. All right, and then finally, some ways to be involved in our work. We hope that you'll either apply for a green grant, or if you think of other organizations or groups that might be interested, please, let them know about the information. And as Becky said, if you sign up for our e-news, you'll be in the know for when that grant opportunity gets released. We hope you also participate with us in the Great Virginia Green Up this spring, March to June. We'll be providing tools, tips, resources, those litter cleanup kits as incentives, and are really hopeful to have participation throughout the state and a quick report of your results with some pictures so that we can feature your good work. Subscribe to our e-news to stay up to date, and that includes for opportunities to get some of those new at-home sustainability kits and personal care sustainability kits that we are planning to be offering this year. Become a member. You can visit our website to find out more information about that, but memberships can start as low as $500 and are an important way to support our work and to be involved in our work. And then finally, we partner with West Rock for their Jam Pack Craft Beer and Music Festival. That's going to be coming up in August. It's in Richmond at Browns Island. This will be the second annual event. We love partnering with West Rock because they, in particular, focus on making this a waste-free event, which is definitely in line with our mission and our priorities. So mark your calendars. It was sold out last year, really popular, really great event. And so we hope to see you there. Okay, next slide. And we're at the end, and we have a few minutes left for questions. So we'd be happy to turn that over to Megan to help see if anything showed up in the chat or if anybody has questions. And then on our final slide, if you can bring that one up, Megan, it has our contact information for ways that you can reach us if you think of something after the fact or just want to get in touch with us with questions or partnership opportunities later. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us today. It really is fantastic to be able to share our work with you all, and we hope that you will think of ways to be engaged.
Well, thank you, Christy and Becky and Tracy, of course. That was awesome. You see all the wide breadth of programs and things that KVB focuses on, but that's what they do. They focus on these core areas. And so, whereas we are pretty comprehensive in our scope with the Virginia Green Travel Certification, we depend on Keep Virginia Beautiful to really be the experts in these areas with litter prevention, and just offering opportunities for us to participate as well. Our partners doing those things that are going to be team building, even, but also show pride in our community in helping to make it green outside even of the walls of our hotel or restaurant, etc. But also just great other things to take advantage of: the cleanup kits, the grants, cigarette litter prevention, and all that. So thanks so much for what you all do every day. And so we're gonna hopefully have a little time for questions and things. Megan and Morgan, do you have some questions for us?
Morgan's going to hit questions, but I had one quick one before, while the audience is putting any questions that they have into the questions box. There was a dog on one of your slides that showed a litter cleanup. Was that an item that you found during the cleanup, or was the dog involved? I was just kidding. Right.
So our litter cleanups can include your four-legged friends, and actually our program coordinator, Roger Eidelman, if you ever do a cleanup with him, his dog is actually our unofficial mascot. I don't think that was actually her in the picture, but yeah, we definitely had instances of dogs, being involved in cleanups. And you know what? It kind of makes sense. Sometimes when you're also just out walking your dog, I know when I'm walking my dog, I feel like I have one bag for poop and one bag for picking up the litter I see along the way. So the two things can definitely go hand in hand. Becky, Tracy, anything y'all want to add to that?
We did not find any dogs on our litter cleanup, but they often accompany us, I think.
So we do have a question about schools, and so you might have already partially answered it when you talked about the student ambassador for Virginia's environment program. But there was a lot of discussion about raising awareness, and do you go into schools and do any programs, like actually in the school talking about litter or talking about recycling or anything along those lines, or is this SAVE program really kind of the first step into the school environment?
We've been a guest from time to time to talk to different groups, but we don't have anything formal that we're hoping that the SAVE program will be a more formal program that we can offer.
Yeah, and I would just add that we've worked and provided litter cleanup supplies to local schools as part of their efforts, but as Becky said, that has been more informal. And again, I think it was identified as a sort of a gap when we were, thinking strategically about our 70th, kind of, what we needed to start, stop, and continue doing. And one of the things we felt like we needed to start was having a more robust program to engage students.
And if I remember correctly, Becky, you all have given out mini grants to schools.
Oh every
yes.
year. A good
Yeah,
portion.
we definitely engage with schools that way. Yeah, good point.
And if someone has a question, seeing if a program or a recycling program or a project for a school or a class, please reach out to me, because I'd love to talk to you about it.
Yeah, we funded a lot of different things in schools too. I'm just thinking about the grants. have been here a year, but recycling and gardens and water refill stations. Really a wide variety of ways that we partner with schools through green grants, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think most of the question was just more about the awareness than the funding. Another question is there much difference in litter found in rural, suburban versus urban areas, or is litter pretty much the same wherever you are?
Ooh. I can take that too. It does change. In business districts, obviously, you find a lot of litter left from fast food places and convenience store places. And when you go to stadiums, you find all the plastic bottles that people either are not recycling or they're overflowing, and there wasn't enough infrastructure to support all the trash and recycling. When you get to rural areas, you have a lot of illegal dumping. People who don't have regular service pickups and can't call the city to have them come pick up a couch. Some have charges if they go to the local landfill. So they just find a deserted area and dump the couch. So yeah, it changes a little bit based on locale.
Yeah, and for sure in rural areas when people are visiting, you know, when they have to take their garbage, if they haven't secured their load, you'll often see a lot more litter along roadways where the waste facilities are for people to take their waste, for sure.
Great. Okay, so there was a lot of talk about the most littered item being cigarette butts, but what about the second item or the third item?
Oh gosh, I have to go back and look and see. Yeah.
What are some of the other most littered?
Yeah, plastic by material.
The second is just still under 4 inches, and it's candy wrappers. It's plastic wrappers. I mean, the thing with litter in general, I hope I'm not preaching to the choir, but litter laws really haven't changed that much, but we are now producing and patenting 4,000 new types of plastic every year since the 70s, and that's every single year. So we're introducing so many different types of plastics, and it's a part of everything that we make these days, that now it's plastic, but it's just not a cigarette butt. So cigarette butts are the most, and then these other things are bits and pieces of the caps from bottles, Tootsie Pop wrapper, it's wrappers, it's convenience store wrappers, that kind of plastic, which also travels so easily. Yeah.
Okay, and actually on that note, we did get a comment sharing a resource, the 2022 Public Perception Survey, Plastic Pollution, a statewide survey by Virginia Coastal Zone Management Program, Clean Virginia Waterways of Longwood, and Opinion Works that said Virginia voters are concerned about plastic getting into rivers, bays, the ocean, and supporting action to decrease those littered items. So we can drop that link. Looks like it's already there. Dropping that link in the chat. Thank you, Megan. So that is another resource finding out about plastic pollution.
That'll be a focus. We'll talk about that at the conference. You're going to take that, Tom?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, we're going to have a full session on that. I've seen the presentation on that previously, and it's really eye-opening.
That's a perfect.
All right. Well, that's what we have for questions. So, Tom, if you want to give a little bit more information about the conference, that'd be great.
Yeah. Just wrapping it up here. If you can just change the slide, the next one. And so basically, here it is this is just giving you a little, pulling back the curtain a little bit on the conference already for what our show is going to be all about. It really is kind of the coolest thing that we do all year long. It's our educational opportunities for all of our partners to send their staffs to come and learn together, but share ideas, and people just leave energized. I mean, the feedback we get, it's probably not that it's the greatest show on earth, but we think it is, but it's because in the tourism industry, the people who come, you know who they are, the people on your staff who really care, and they get to come and they're with like-minded folks, and they come away with all kinds of new information and ideas, and they just leave really pumped. And we try and make it a lot of fun and casual. You see there some of the things that are going to be there. Well, starting with our partnership, of course. Jennifer Lawson, the president and CEO of Keep America Beautiful, is going to be our keynote speaker on the first day. Eric Hansen of the U.S. Travel Association. Virginia just joined the Sustainable Travel Coalition. And so we're really excited about that. We're going to be rolling out some things that we're doing with tourism to promote that and get more of our local tourism boards and things involved in that. But you see the fun we're going to have. We're going on a boat tour. We have a boat tour lined up to go see the coastal Virginia wind farm right off of Virginia Beach. There are already several of the wind turbines out there. There are going to be hundreds more. But you know, we have all kinds of technical workshops and things. A Green Tourism Business Expo. Our awards reception is funny. We get our awards people and everybody dancing. I don't know what leads to that, but you know, it's a fun reception. And you see just all kinds of different topics and things that we'll be touching on in the conference. The expo itself is really cool because it's, you know, all these green vendors of green products and things, and lots of our partners who are really working with us. Keep Virginia Beautiful will certainly be there in mass and in strength, and hopefully a lot of their 17 local affiliates are, as well as other local, you know, clean city commissions and things like that. So please come and learn, and you can meet Becky, Tracy, and Christy in person. And so with that said, we'll wrap it up here today. But thanks to everybody for coming. It was fun. Look, we're finishing right on time. How'd that happen? I'm gonna give Megan and Morgan kept us in line, I'm sure. But you guys did a great job today. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Megan and Morgan.
Thanks for having us.
Tom. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for everybody for attending.
Right. You know, I should say we are, because the conference is middle of March, we are going to skip a month, and the conference itself will be kind of what we do in March. But come April, we'll be back on board. I'm sure we'll be talking about Earth Day festivities, as well as we will be promoting and with Keep Virginia Beautiful their cleanup, their green up in the spring. And so we hope to get many of our Virginia Green travel partners involved in that. So thanks again for everybody for being with us, and please sign up for the conference.
And also consider applying for a Virginia Green Award. I just dropped the link in the chat as well.
Thank you, Megan. Yes. So we have just extended the deadline for that until next Friday, the 27th. But please just get those in, even if you feel like you need a little bit more time to get some of the more information to us. Let me know. We can be a little bit flexible there. But please apply, because that's a great opportunity for recognition. What else did we forget, Megan? It's got to be one more now. I'm getting old. Right. Thanks, everybody, for attending. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.